Diane and Denmark here, and rah rah rah, Monday morning, woohoo! You know me, I love Mondays. Just it always feels like a fresh start, moving on to a new Flylady Zone. Today we're doing Zone 5, and it's 5, which is living room, the den, family room, maybe you've got a kid's playroom, something like that, but you know, wherever the family congregates. And you've seen this before, this is where my family congregates in the evening. We have our cup of tea, watch the telly, read our books, play on our iPads. What can you hear? The birds have woken up. Let me just put down my pom-poms. And I'm also, I want to check in with you about our 31 days of exercise challenge. Remember, all this month I've been checking in with you every single day. You must be sick of the sight of me. But I promise you would keep each other accountable. And we're just doing that Flylady moving in me where we're getting a wee bit more exercise into a day. If we can, we are piggybacking it onto something that we're already doing, or habit stacking, as it's called in the Atomic Habits book. You know, whenever, for example, you know, when you've brushed your teeth in the morning, you get your shoes on and you get right out there and do a 5-minute walk. Or maybe on Wednesday afternoons you go for a hike in the canyon with a friend. I mean, let's just make some changes so that it just becomes a natural thing for us to get moving. Now I'm going to show you some pictures from a run. I went for a run yesterday. I mentioned that yesterday. It was raining. No such thing as bad weather, as we say in Denmark, only wrong clothing. So I got my running jacket on and my cap so I didn't get water in my eyes. Let me just show you the pictures. Yeah, one of the things I like about running is that you never, well, it keeps it fresh for me. I do a different route every time. And I like to see the seasons go by. And there we are, there's me grinning like a crazy woman. But laburnum is really out in bloom at the moment. It's funny because Mum and Dad had a laburnum tree in their garden. We have one too. And laburnum is actually really poisonous, and yet I'm sure my pram, when I was a wee baby, was underneath that laburnum tree, you know, when I was out from a nap. And this is a clematis that I pass on one of the streets here, and the smell of it is just fantastic at the moment. So anyway, I did my run yesterday. I hope you managed to get out and do your exercise, whatever it was, or maybe you're doing the 7-minute strength app. I'll put a link down below. Anyway, what I'm going to do today, what are we going to do today, Mum? We are going to do a wee spot of detail cleaning here in Zone 5, which is the living room. We've got basically a full week in the living room. The Flylady Zones, Zone 1 generally starts on the 1st of the month. Sometimes Marla and the Flylady people, they kind of split it up between 5 and 1 at the end of the month. But if you're new to Flylady, don't worry about that. And also, if you're at the stage where your living room still looks like a disaster zone and you've got things piled up, don't worry about the detailed cleaning. The main thing that you do is keep on with your decluttering. You know, just set your timer and go for, you know, even just 5 or 6 minutes. Just get started. And remember also, you know, before you prep dinner or before you go to bed, to do a poopa, you know, a pick up and put away. Pick up anything that's in here that needs to go somewhere else. And because when I come into this room in the morning, it looks really good because the night before we've removed, you know, our teacups, our teacups, and you know, the biscuits that we eat here when we're all gathered here. Our books, if we've got books and stuff, they go back in the basket for the library. You'll see that in a wee minute, or in my pamper basket. So everything is just kind of cleared off. And it just makes it really nice to come into the room and not find things lying there. So if you're just new with the Flylady, don't do detail cleaning. Stick to decluttering and doing your poopas, you know, picking up and putting away, or, you know, clearing off hot spots. Believe me, you will get there, but don't try and run before you can walk, because you know what happens, we start detail cleaning something and we've got all those piles of procrastination lying about, and we just don't get anywhere with it. You know, we're kind of constantly spinning our wheels. Anyway, I'm not going to spin my wheels any longer. I'm going to get started. And we're in the living room today. Usually on a Monday I will do my weekly home blessing hour, and I leave zone cleaning until the rest of the week. You've seen that in all my videos. And usually I don't spend more than 15 minutes detail cleaning a room. And all my videos, you see me cleaning in real time. I'm not doing the kind of fast cleaning. And you're supposedly working along with me, or folding laundry, or clearing off your desk. And I posted yesterday, I think it was on Instagram and on the wee video that I did, that yesterday I changed sheets. And I dealt with the newspapers, but a lot of the things for Weekly Home Blessing Hour is actually in the living room for me. Weekly Home Blessing Hour is a 1 hour clean of the high traffic areas of your house, not the whole house. You're not meant to be cleaning the whole house during Weekly Home Blessing Hour. It's just a quick upkeep clean, and then when we're in the zone, then you get to go in a wee bit further. So I'm going to get on with that, and I think I will start with doing the windows mirrors. I stick by zone, I've mentioned that before, and if you're confused by any of this, just go off and do a Weekly Home Blessing Hour. I've done playlists for that, and everything will be all right. And otherwise I'll just take a few things from the detailed cleaning list. Anyway, I'm going to do a scoosh scoosh, so get ready for a scoosh scoosh. I know a lot of you now are saying scoosh scoosh. Like I say, I've got my glass cleaner, and I clean in the clothes that I'm wearing for the day. If you feel that you need to change or put in an apron, do that. I'm cleaning consistently with the Flylady system, and I use products which haven't been tested on animals, good for the environment. I wouldn't recommend you drink it as a cocktail, but if it splashes on me, it doesn't matter. And all my clothes go in the washing machine, so there's no problem for me. But if you are using toxic products, have a think about it. Why are you using the toxic products? Is it because you're not being consistent with Flylady system? You may want to think about that. Anyway, let's get going. I'll just move around so that you can see me doing the windows and the door. Okay, I'm heading over this way. And I won't vacuum while I'm doing this video. It makes too much noise. But I'll do a really good vacuuming session once I'm finished. Right. Up. Okay, a quick scoosh scoosh. I'll just fold my rag into 6th. That way I'm not using tons of different rags. And just up on my tiptoes as much as I can get. There we are. That's, woo, 1 done. That's number 2, no streaks. Woohoo. Okay, I'm just going to turn over my rag. Here we go again. Scoosh, scoosh. Scoosh, scoosh. And the last one. There we go. And we don't have any mirrors in this room. Maybe you've got a mirror that you need to give a quick scoosh to. I'm just going to do the door there. I won't turn around too much because I don't want to be looking into our neighbours. Okay, scoosh, scoosh. And again, let's put the lamp on. And I'll just turn over my rag again, but it's the same one. And again, just up on your tiptoes. That's one side, and I'll just do the other. Right, that's that done. Just put my rag on the top there. And then I'm going to take my feather duster on a stick, and I'm going to do the ceilings, and then I'll do the skirting board, the baseboard. Sorry about the light, but I always use my telephone to phone. There's no fancy filming or smoke and mirrors involved. Let me just turn around. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go clockwise so I remember where I start and where to finish. And if you haven't done this for a while, you may be kind of covered in cobwebs, but that's the thing, if we're just consistent with it, it really doesn't take any time at all. Okay, I'm going behind you. It's always saying British pantomime. Where is he? He's behind you. Okay, I'm just going along the tops. Here we are. Okay, I should be coming back into view. Don't skive off, I'm checking up on you. There we are. I hope you're still going. Remember, don't sit there on your bahookie. Make sure you do a spot of cleaning as well, and maybe you want to go through your pamper basket. Okay, I've done the ceilings, now I'm going to do the baseboards. And you know, I've mentioned before, if you're doing the baseboards, the skirting boards in the kitchen and the bathroom, maybe you want to use a wet rag because there's more steam in those rooms. But here it's just going to be basically dust sitting on the top. So my feather duster is fine for that. You can also go along the tops. There we are. Tops of the doors, underneath the piano. I'm just going to go underneath here. There we are. Okay, I'm going to be going behind you again. Don't fall asleep, don't skive off. Right. Behind the television. Okay, I'm almost right. I'm also just doing underneath our bookcases because we have bookcases which are raised off the ground, which are quite nice because they're kind of easy to vacuum underneath. Right, that was it. Okay, and I'll give this a shake outside once I'm finished filming. Just pop that there. Oh, actually, I'll do the top of the round door. And the round door that we have here, and the ones that you've seen in the hall, also upstairs. Our house was designed by an architect. It's in the international style, which is called funkis in Danish. But the family who lived here, they were quite kind of old-fashioned, and we can see from the original drawings that they've changed some things because round doors don't actually, it's not part of the international style. International style is more like, you know, the very boxy, and you can see that door there. But these are the original doors and door handles, especially those ones from 1933 when this house was built. We like to keep things as original as possible. Right, had a wee break there. Right, I'm going to get out my duster and I'm just going to do the flat surfaces. And I've shown you my little cleaning caddy before. I'll put a link up there. There's nothing fancy in here, just a few rags, dusters, and I use this one, the wee hand duster. I think this was a Flylady one. Was it? It's pink, but I don't know. And in here I've got a wee bit of pledge, but I only really use that for the table that you're sitting on right now. So I'll do that in a wee minute. Another thing is I keep a bottle of cleaning fluid, and this is just basic vinegar and water for when I do Tweet and Sparky's room, because you know, I don't want anything for the wee birdies, even if it has been tested on animals, and you know, I just go for very, very basic stuff. Right, anyway, I'm going to do the flat surfaces, so feel free to join me for that. You may want to give your plants a water. You know, remember and do that. I usually do during weekly blessing hour, just to remind me of that. Okay, you ready for your Liberace moment? And I'll just do the legs of the piano. I don't always do them, but they don't need done every month. And the piano stool. There we are. All spick and span. Oh, and this is our library basket. And I also keep I've got a little knee rug that I keep in there. I don't know if you can see that here. Oh, let me put you down a wee bit. Yeah, I keep a wee knee rug so that when I take a book I can get all hygge and get all cosy. We keep all our library books together. Makes it much easier to know what you've got, where it is, and for when they need returned. I picked up a funny one for my husband the other day. It's Nick Cave. I'm not a Nick Cave fan. My husband loves Nick Cave and seen him several times. But it's Nick Cave's lyrics as a graphic novel. Anyway, we keep them all together here. And I'll need to do another wee hygge book video because I picked up Agate and Sacks from the library. And what else? This is a Danish book about toilet paper folding for when you're kind of bored in the toilet and how you can fold toilet paper. I mean, the book for somebody who has everything. Anyway, well, we'll do that another day. Oh, also Star Wars origami. Who knew? Anyway, if you keep them all together, and also if you've got kind of piles of stuff in your living room, see what it is. If it's kids' toys, give them a nice basket, and at the end of the day, they can put their toys in there. It just kind of keeps the place looking much tidier, and also the kids know where to put their stuff. It's like, oh, we're going to tidy up, I'm going to put all the books in one basket and all the toys in another basket. Anyway, let's get on with the dusting. Let's put down my basket again. Right, can you see me? Right, flat surfaces and windowsills. Most important thing in here is the teapot for when we're having our tea and biscuits after dinner. And I'm just doing the bases of the lamps as well. So funny, I was watching one of the Steph, Secret Slob videos the other day, and she's got the same IKEA lamps. Maybe you can kind of feel at home. Right, I'm just moving around this way. Right, I'm going to do the table here, and that's the only place I actually use any product. And looky here what I found, one of the birds tweeting Sparky's feathers. Isn't that cute? Okay, put that there. I'm not sure if I should keep it. Right, move that out of the way. And usually when I'm finished my weekly home blessing hour, I like to put a wee fresh flower, cut a wee bloom from the garden. Because it's just a little kind of, it's a little pat on the back and say, well done. Just making it look nice when you're done. Right, there we go. Right, that's because this table sees a lot of action in evenings. There we go. Put this back in that's the glass cleaner. It's there. And this is just a little holder for remote controls and for lighting candles, and also for the coasters for when we put down our teacups so we're not leaving marks. Yeah. Right, and I'm just going to go over here and do set the TV. You may want to have a wee check and see if you've got loads of PlayStation games, stuff like that, DVDs. Maybe take a wee look through them, see if you want to keep them or put them away. Okay, and last round of the dusting. And we love these chairs. This is my favourite chair to sit and read in, or the other one that you saw back there. Give it a wee bit of polish. This one. This big dresser came from my husband's family. It was his I think it was from his dad's side. And it's pretty dark and heavy, but actually it goes quite nicely with the furniture that we have here. Right, and you've seen me decluttering in these drawers before. If you want to know what is in here, it's all on the Zone playlist of decluttering and cleaning. Oh, I had questions about this before. I love displaying the things that the kids have made when they were at school. And this, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of an abstract bird that my son made when he was, let me see if there's a date on it. Nah, and I think he made it when he was about 10, 12 years old at school. And it's just made out of plaster, which is from a milk carton. You know, they poured it into milk cartons, and then a couple of bits of wire. But he's really good at doodling and making weird things out of nothing. So anyway, I like to keep that on display. Oh, and also a wee one that my daughter had made in a little clay dish. Right. Okay. Or maybe your plants need a dust. Good water, put them outside in the rain. Right, let me see how we're doing for time, because I don't want to keep you back. No, okay. I think I'm gonna stop it here. These are going to go in the wash because also I said to you that. Hold on, come a bit closer. Yeah, I want to vacuum in here, and I don't want to keep you back. The only other thing is, you know, when you're in this zone, you know. Take the Flylady detail cleaning list and make it work for you. For example, we also, once a year, we have the chimney sweep. He is employed by the local council, and he comes and checks the chimneys for us. Maybe you need to buy some firewood, fire starters if you've got an open fireplace. We have the wood burning stove. Well, we hardly ever use it for that. We mainly just put candles in it so it looks hoogly. You may also want to, when you're doing your vacuuming today, vacuum the couch. You may remember there's a story that Marla told Flylady about me when my son was away in the States for a year. He did a year of American high school. And I really missed him, and one of his tasks when he was wee, he used to love vacuuming underneath the sofa cushions, because he got to keep anything that he found, and there was always some kind of coins that had fallen out of my husband's pocket, and occasionally there'd be kind of some kind of wrapped sweet, and I would kind of cheat a bit and hide some extra things, and it just he would say, "Oh, Mama, I want to do the vacuuming." And when he was away in the States, I really missed him. We didn't physically see him for 10, 11 months because when they're away at that age, you're not allowed to visit and they're not allowed to come home in case they get homesick. Anyway, I said to Marla that every time the mission came up, I was kind of reminded of, you know, my son even more, and it was really difficult. And she said to me, don't do that mission until he comes back. I think that's what she said. But she said, every time you're thinking about him, put some coins in the sofa. So, you know, I did that. And then when my son came back, well, now I'm getting wee tears, man. When my son came back, I said, "Oh, you know, it's we're in zone 5 this week. You know what that means." And he said, "Oh, okay, Mum, I'll do it." And then he started taking off the cushion. He's like, "Mum, what's been going on in here? There's so much money." And I told him the story. It was like every time I thought of him, I'd put in some money. So anyway, just a wee. Just another wee story for you. So maybe you want to get your kids involved in that. If you're going to hide any sweets for them, make sure they're wrapped. Okay, don't be putting any M&Ms down there, because they'll probably end up covered in fluff and goodness knows all what. Anyway, excuse me. The other thing that you might want to check when you're in here, if you've got, we've got a wee supply of games. You know, we've got Rummy Cub, we've got Uno cards. We've got Exploding Kittens, we've got Big Bang Game. we keep, oh, and Spectrangle that somebody had, was it Lucy recommended? Somebody recommended Spectrangle. Anyway, we keep them over there on a shelf. Maybe you've got a lot of kids' games and the kids just, it's not appropriate for their age any longer, or you don't play them. Have a wee think about that this week. Maybe you want to move those out and move some other ones in. And what else? Oh yeah, and I've also got, I check through my pamper basket, give that a wee declutter. Maybe you want to wash cushion covers. You know, all our ones basically come from IKEA, so they're all easy to take off and throw in the wash. And I think that's about it. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to upload this video, and the uploading takes so long, so it'll probably be about 3 days later before you'll see it. But and while it's uploading, I'm going to do a vacuuming session in here, detail vacuum right underneath the furniture, and I'm also going to vacuum the hall and the kitchen, and then I'm going to mop, and that will also be my weekly home blessing are done. So anyway, go on, remember and give yourselves a wee rah when you're done. Maybe cut a wee bloom from the garden and put it on the table. And I shall check in with you tomorrow for day 28 of our exercise challenge. Woo! We're in the final stretch. And we'll see what else we can come up with. Oh, another thing I was going to say, I know for a lot of you, I think in the UK it's a bank holiday today. In the States it's Memorial Weekend. No holiday for us today or this weekend, but we do have a holiday coming up on Thursday. I've mentioned this before, in Denmark, state and church are linked. And we have a lot of statutory holidays which follow the Christian calendar, you know, all the Easter things. The next one for us is on Thursday, which is Ascension. And guess what it's called in Danish? Okay, listen up. It's called Kristi Himmelfart. And I did say fart. Kristi means Christ, Himmel means heaven, and fart means either, it's not what you think. Fart means speed or motion. So Christ, heaven flight, Christ going up to heaven. So Kristi Himmelfart. And quite often here, schools and nurseries will make a bridge, or faire le pont as it's called in French, and they will close also on the Friday. Friday's not a statutory holiday. Thursday is, but quite often they will close on the Friday and make it a long weekend. It really depends where you are in Denmark. My kids' schools, they always did the pont, the bridge, but not their high schools. Anyway, my kids are now on exam leave, so they're studying at the moment. And I think actually my son has an exam on Friday. So anyway, enough about that. But I shall see you when I see you. And if you haven't checked out yet, I put up an extra video at the weekend with my mum's stew recipe for the instant pot pressure cooker. Anyway, live long and prosper. May the Danish week be with you. Rah rah rah, and I'll see you very soon. Okay, bye for now.